Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us on our 5th apprenticeship webinar for Apprenticeships Week at East Coast College. I can see we've got a couple of schools that have logged in as well, so many thanks. But this will also be hosted on the college YouTube website after recording. Okay, so in terms of what is an apprenticeship, apprenticeships gives you the chance to earn while you learn and combines practical training in a job whilst learning at college. As an apprentice, you'll also be employed and work alongside experienced staff, gain job-specific skills, earn a wage and get holiday pay entitlement, but also get time off to make sure that you can cope and keep up to date with the training for your apprenticeship work. The length of your apprenticeship will depend on the level you are studying. Apprenticeships range from level 2 to level 3 and all the way through to degree level at level 6. So at East Coast College, we offer a range of apprenticeships. We work with over 600 employers across Norfolk and Suffolk, and at any point have over 700 apprentices studying with us each year. Our apprenticeship staff are experts in their vocational field, and the facilities at the college campuses are also second to none. As you can see on the PowerPoint, there are a range of opportunities in terms of current courses, but the college also works with employers to bring on new apprenticeship standards. So as you can see, we can cover aspects such as engineering, construction, electrical installation, business and management, childcare, hospitality, and we're also bringing on new apprenticeship standards such as project management at level 4. So how to become an apprentice? You can apply for an apprenticeship while you're still at school or at college, but you just need to be living in England and over the age of 16. To find an employer, you can register a personal account with the National Apprenticeship Service by visiting the website displayed. This will allow you to create an account and actually pick the subject areas or companies that you would be interested in when they advertise. Another great option is to send out your CV and a covering letter to employers in the sector, asking for work experience or when apprenticeship vacancies will be open. Also as well, don't forget, if you're a college student, make sure that you inform the apprenticeship team to make sure that we can help you transition to becoming an apprenticeship as soon as possible. So now I'd like to pass you over to Heather Schilling, who's the Learning and Development Partner for East Suffolk Council, who will explore what opportunities there are working at the council. Thank you, Heather.
Brilliant, thank you, Rachel. It's a bit of a mouthful, that job title, isn't it? I'm Learning and Development Partner, so I work actually within the HR team at East Suffolk Council and have an overview of the apprenticeship provision at the council. Next slide, Amy. Okay, so East Suffolk Council is a local authority, so we're part of the government system in Suffolk. There's 3 tiers of government. So there's the county council, which covers highways, education, social care, etc. Then the district council, which is ourselves. We cover revenue and benefits, waste provision. We've got planning and building control, environmental services, etc., and all the back office teams. And then there's the town and parish councils beneath us that cover the much more direct services to a smaller area. We currently employ around about 850 people. That seems to change all the time across 10 service areas. So very, very briefly, those 10 service areas are environmental services. That also includes quite a big team and rising rapidly at the port in Felixstowe. So a big port health team, including some veterinary surgeons in that team. We've got planning, building control and coastal protection, customer services, again, around 50 people in customer services, including communications, legal and democratic services. So we've got a legal team, a team that runs elections. We've got a licensing team, etc. Strategic management, so audit, HR. We've got a small PA team, quite a large finance team, ICT, revenue and benefits, housing and tenant services. So up at the north end of our district, in the Lowestoft end, we own 4,500 council properties. So obviously we've got quite a team that maintain those properties. And we've got an ops team as well, so procurement, asset management, etc. The harbour masters at Alton Broad, at Southwold, all fall within that area. So in terms of career options, you can see that there are some great opportunities through, and I'll talk a little bit more in a second about the apprenticeship options, but from sort of business admin at level 3 through to sort of going on to do degree courses in planning, in building control, and in environmental services. So multiple career options in the council. We're now the biggest district council in the country. We stretch all the way from Lowestoft in the north down to Felixstowe in the south. Okay. So what is an apprenticeship? And Rachel's covered off some of these already. So an apprenticeship essentially is a training programme. So it's a qualification. So it's not a job. It's complicated by the fact that we call our new starters each year apprentices, but they're actually new starters at the council undertaking an apprenticeship programme. So it's a training programme. It's completed while you work. On some apprenticeships, you'll go to college for almost like a day release. In some subject areas, you don't, you do it solely in the workplace. But you work in a real team, in a real job. So no longer are you supernumerary to the current workforce. You know, you do a real job and a part of a real team. Depending on, oh, I can't see that bit on my screen. Depending on the qualification, it could involve functional skills. That depends on your level of ICT, English and maths. So you might have to do functional skills. There might be an MVQ as part of it. There might be a technical certificate, so a BTEC or a Chartered Institute of Housing. And there could be an academic qualification. There's also, with new apprenticeships, something called an endpoint assessment. So a 3-month period at the end of the apprenticeship, whereby you do possibly a short exam, you do a presentation, etc. That very much depends on the qualification and the level of the qualification that you're doing. So duration of it can last anything from 15 months right through to 4 to 5 years. If you undertake and join us for a degree level qualification, then that could take up to 4 to 5 years, depending on the level at which you join. As Rachel said, you're paid as a member of staff, and with that, the benefits of a normal member of staff, so holiday pay, holiday entitlement, etc. There are no age limits, contrary to I think what a lot of people think. There are no age limits to join the council to undertake an apprenticeship. So that you know, that's a really good thing. I think previously when we had funding to do qualifications, there were maximum age limits, but now there aren't any. Entry is variable again, depending on the qualification and the level of that qualification. But I'll talk to you a little bit more about what we're looking for when we take on our new start apprentices to undertake an apprenticeship programme. Okay. So we've been employing apprentices in a business admin in a sort of office field since about 2012. But previous to that, we worked very closely with what was Lowestoft College at the time, and now East Coast College, with our trade apprentices. So plumbing, electricians, we've employed them for many, many years as part of our building maintenance team. And even prior to that, some of you won't remember or won't have heard, but of YTS scheme, of the Youth Opportunities Programme. So we've always took part in the initiatives, in government initiatives, to get people their first rung on the employment ladder. We take them across all service areas. So although they may be in business admin or customer services, they could be in planning, environmental services, could be in finance, We start a lot of our apprentices on a business admin qualification because it gives them a chance to find out what the work of the team is like. So for example, in housing, you may not know at all what they do in a housing team, but if you do a business admin qualification, it gives you that opportunity to get a worthwhile qualification and find out about that area and whether or not you'd like to move on in that area. So there's some of the ones we've done. We've got people doing degree level qualifications in building control, in planning. We do qualifications in ICT, in finance, and as I say, housing, plumbing and heating as well. We've got an excellent success rate. We retain over 70% of the apprentices that we take on. We don't guarantee anything. When you join, some areas have a sort of planned career, you know, a sort of career pathway. Some don't. So some may be in teams that they didn't join in. They may have moved over to another team. But 70% of the ones we've taken on since 2012 stayed with us, and there's quite a lot actually still at the council. Okay, so in 2020, we recruited 6 new apprentices, and since then 1 more has joined us in the teams that are listed on there. So in Port Health, Long is doing an ICT qualification with us and he's based at Port Health. Planning support services, property information, elections, customer services, our communities team and also housing. So some great opportunities there. We have a great programme of activity for those apprentices. They're all working from home at the moment, apart from at Port Health, they're all working from home. So they're provided with all the necessary equipment. We have regular check-ins with those. Myself and a colleague, Lydia, have regular check-ins. We run what we call time to talk cafes. So we get them together and using Zoom or MS Teams, have a chat to them about how things are going, any issues, etc. We have a programme of training, both specific to their service and more generally, so health and safety, diversity and equality. We're doing a few this week on emotional intelligence, confidence building, etc. So work with some external trainers to provide those. And they also undertake a project as a group. And this year they are making a new video or short film, which will aid us in the recruitment of apprentices in the future. So they work together on that. This year we will hopefully be recruiting 4 new ones. I say hopefully, we're just waiting for confirmation of the funding. And I will tell you a little bit more in a second about where those adverts will be placed and sort of the timing of those. So thanks, Amy. So just some success stories very quickly here. Lydia and Tom both joined us in 2012. Lydia, I mentioned earlier, she's a colleague in my team in HR. She actually is now doing a level 7 professional HR qualification. So she joined in 2012 and undertook a business admin level 3. She's since worked her way through and is now, as I say, doing a level 7. Tom is doing a level 3 team leading qualification. So he now heads up a small team, managing some apprentices in our planning team. Isaac joined us in 2016 as part of a Suffolk-wide planning apprenticeship programme. So he undertook a level 3 town planning qualification at Chichester. So that was interesting because they did a day release, they did a residential release qualification with Chichester. So they spent a week down at Chichester, getting them, giving them a little bit of a sort of more of a uni experience. And in between times they worked at the council. Isaac is now enrolled on a planning degree course at London South Bank University, so does that on a day release basis. 2017, Tim, Joe and Kay joined. They all stayed with us. Joe is in customer services. Kay has just done a level 4 improvement practitioner course with West Suffolk College and works across the county. And Tim's just enrolled in an Open University course, actually, in planning. So, and finally, Jamie only joined in 2018, but just in these last few weeks has enrolled in a building control degree qualification with the University of Wolverhampton. So all of these people started with us, apart from Isaac, doing business administration. You can see where they've moved out into various other careers. So I could have gone on and on in terms of success stories. We've got so many people at the council that have really, really done well and have moved on in their careers. Next one. So this year we'll hopefully, assuming our funding is confirmed, be advertising in late April, May for a start date in September. And post-COVID, there should be some new apprentice opportunities in building maintenance. Obviously, with what's going on at the moment, we can't go out into people's properties, which is making work quite difficult for our building maintenance team. But when we get to the point that we are able to do that, we will be working with East Coast College to look at some new opportunities there. Advertisements will appear via our website. So if you go to www.eastsuffolk.gov.uk, that will redirect you to Suffolk Jobs Direct. They are also advertised on the National Apprenticeships website as well. So the website details that Rachel gave you earlier would also direct you to those. There'll also be links on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, on our social media channels. So East Suffolk Council, on those, if you look those up, like those, we put them on there and share those. There's lots of updates coming on all the time on those social media channels, so have a look on those. To apply, you will need to set up an account on Suffolk Jobs Direct. Very straightforward. You can then go in and complete your application online, save it midway and go back to it. It's really, really very simple. And if you think you may be interested even at this stage, if you drop us an email to hr@eastsuffolk.gov.uk, and then we can keep your name and details and let you know when the adverts go out. We do have contacts at all the local high schools. So I think they will go out automatically to those. But if you are interested, then just let us know and we can add you to our list. So just briefly, I think this is the penultimate slide, last but one slide, what we're looking for. So we're looking for the right attitude. So we're looking for somebody who wants to be there, who wants to take part in the team, who wants to learn, who'll ask questions, who'll be enthusiastic about their learning, enthusiastic about working at the council, enthusiastic about their role, and of being part of a team. We want somebody who's not afraid to speak up, but equally, we want people who know when it's not appropriate to do so. So even working from home, you will work as part of a team, and we want people who will take part in that team. And there's more social activity, ironically, going on now in terms of quizzes and WhatsApp groups, etc. So we want people, who'll take part in that and who'll make a real contribution to their team. I put personality there. So we want people with, personality who'll be happy to talk to anyone, from the chief exec. Our chief exec takes a really active interest in our apprentices across the organisation. So somebody who's happy to speak to the chief exec, equally to speak to our customers and their colleagues. So somebody with a bit of, with a personality, and those who share similar values to us. And on the last slide in a second, I'll talk about those values. But you'll notice that qualifications is last on the list. And don't get me wrong, qualifications are really, really important. And for some apprenticeships, there is obviously an entry level qualification, particularly for the degree level qualifications. But I wouldn't say necessarily we're more interested, but we're at least just as interested in the right attitude, the right positive attitude, the right can-do attitude. Somebody who's enthusiastic, who can speak to people, and who share our values. So that's just as important, and that's really what we're trying, you know, what we're looking for new apprentices at East Suffolk Council. And the final slide. So there are our values, our East Suffolk values. So and this is what we're looking for, I think, in any new member of staff, including our apprentices. So we want somebody who's proud to work for East Suffolk Council, who believes in who we are, what we do, and where we live. I know there's lots of, particularly in Lowestoft, and at this end of our district, there is, you know, there's always some negative press around Lowestoft, but that has so much to offer, and we want people who are proud to be here and represent it. We want people who are dynamic, who, and I hate the phrase, but who think out of the box, who are creative, who will challenge processes and procedures that are going on. We try to be truthful and honest and clear in all we do. So if we can't do something today or tomorrow, we will be truthful and honest with our customers and our colleagues. We try and offer good value. We have got budgets. We've got we don't have infinite funds, but we try and offer as good value as possible. And whoever we work with, we work as one team. So within our organisation and outside of our organisation with our partners, we work as one team. And with our elected members, we've got 55 elected members or councillors, it's one and the same. We work very closely together with them. So working across boundaries to serve our communities. And that's, I think, what we're all about. That's me done.
Thank you so much, Heather. That's been really great, and it's nice to see what's going on in the local area. We've got a few questions, if you don't mind. So first of all, you mentioned about the importance of English and maths.
Yes.
Do I have to have a grade 4 or above to start an apprenticeship, or can I study whilst I'm on the apprenticeship?
You don't have to have it. And if you don't have it, you will have to do functional skills as part of the apprenticeship qualification. So you will have to do a certain level of it there. But just to give an example, and I won't name any names, we had a young person join us in late 2020. He was due to do a level 3 qualification with us. He did an initial assessment in English and maths, which they all have to do, just to make sure that they're okay and they're on the right, they're on the right track. He didn't pass the maths. So we worked with the training provider that we're currently working with, and they gave him some materials, access to various resources, said, we'll try him again. Tried him again, he still didn't pass. So we did a bit of a diagnostic on his scores, saw that he was way over and had way sufficient scores in most of the areas bar one. So we gave him some more resources in a different format, because we felt that the previous format might not have worked for him. And he did it again, and he passed, and he's now doing level 3, and it's a massive hit in his team. So that's worked, that's worked really well for him. So we don't give up.
That's really brilliant.
He'd had an interview. They were really impressed with his attitude, in his enthusiasm for what he wanted to do. And we worked to get him to that place where he could undertake the qualification that he wanted to do.
Lovely, thank you. We've had another one. As far as possible, will there always be an opportunity to stay on at the council once I've completed an apprenticeship?
As far as possible, yeah. We can't guarantee anything, and we never do, and we make that really, really clear. But what we also do during the and in fact, we've had some conversations about that this week, because we often use the terminology so many percentage you know, so many % of our apprentices get kept on, and they're not just kept on. That doesn't happen automatically. You know, there are jobs that come up that they apply for. It may be within the team that they've been in for the last 18, 21 months. It may not be. So one of my success stories could have been a young man called Max, who joined in our property information team. About 9 months into that, an opportunity came up in our licensing team, which he applied for, and he was successful at. So that was that's a permanent role in our licensing team. And that happens across the board. So it's a big organisation, as I say, 850 staff. So there are lots of opportunities. And Lydia and I in our team, we've got our eyes all over those opportunities. So when they come up, particularly when it gets to the last 3 to 4 months of the apprenticeship, we're firing those out left, right and centre to our apprentices to say, here's another one, you could apply for this, you could apply for this. And we will give them support in terms of making applications. We do training sessions, interview skills, etc. Internally. So it's not automatic, but I think, assuming we get funding for this year, which I'm very hopeful of, we will work with managers to probably try and identify some more areas where there's a more defined career path. So I think that's what we're going to try and do this year. Okay, lovely. That's good to hear.
So there's a lot of projects obviously going on especially in Lowestoft, with the new bridge. There's a lot of work going on around the port. Does the council promote apprenticeships to people that apply for big tenders for work in the town?
That's a good one. And to be perfectly honest, I know that they do in coast protection, because we've worked quite closely with the coast protection team on the work that they do with their partners, and the work that they do around apprenticeships. So we're trying to develop cross-sector apprenticeships with teams like that, where they will spend some time with us. In coast protection, it's a sort of civil engineering background, but there's also an community engagement element as well. So we will try to work up a cross-sector apprenticeship. They may be employed by Balfour Beatty, who's the construction has the construction contract, but they might get some time with us as well. So we're trying to work those things up at the moment. So I know it works there. And I know economic development work closely with local businesses, and they have a skills person in their team who work on promoting apprenticeships out to local businesses as well. So they do it from an external point of view, and we do it for us as an employer.
Lovely.
If that makes sense.
And last question. Sorry, it's like put you on the spot for 10 minutes.
That's okay, no, this is fine.
Last question is, if I'm considering an apprenticeship, but I'm currently at college, or I'm thinking of doing A-levels, is there a way that I can get some work experience with the council while I study?
I'll say a tentative yes. Okay. That's very difficult at the moment because of the way we're working. And obviously we're home working at the moment, all of us. I can't remember the last time I went back in the office. So at the moment it is more difficult, not impossible, but it's more difficult. But as soon as we are able to, and we can get back in the office, obviously with everything that's going on, we're hoping that might be sometime in the not too distant future, then that might be something we are able to pick up again. That was always something we were very active in, but as I say, it's just much more difficult with working from home.
No, that's much appreciated, I think, by everybody. So that is the end of the questions. So East Coast would really like to thank you, Heather, for your time. I'm sure a lot of people will get something out of today, whether they're on the call or they'll watch the video later. So that's great. For anybody who's interested in next steps, please just refer to the college website. And if you've got any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact the team on the email below. So thank you all for attending. And again, thank you, Heather.
No problem at all.
And good luck, everybody, in your future apprenticeships. Thank you.
Thank you.